MicroStrategy CEO and billionaire Michael Saylor made a shocking revelation about Bitcoin's future in an interview with Julian Hosp. Saylor predicts that Bitcoin will reach at $1 million per coin in 10 years. He also declared that big banks will soon embrace Bitcoin, and no one is ever going to sell Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is much more than that. Hey guys, and welcome to Investing Few, a place for all investors. In today's video, I will explain what Michael Saylor thinks about Bitcoin's price, why he invested more than $1 billion in Bitcoin, Tesla's investment in Bitcoin, and what will be the ultimate reaction of governments to Bitcoin. So, if you want to know more, then stay tuned till the end of this video. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. What most people don't understand about Bitcoin? If we talk about Michael Saylor for most of the past 25 years, he was a relatively low-profile tech executive running a boring software firm in Tysons. During the pandemic, however, his career took an unexpected turn when he made a nearly $500 million bet on a notoriously unpredictable cryptocurrency. The transformation began last March when Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, was looking for a place to park $500 million in reserve funds. In August, he began buying up hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin. In fact, Saylor says it's the best money created in the history of the world. Then, in December, MicroStrategy went even further, announcing it was taking on $650 million in debt in order to, yes, buy more Bitcoin. Saylor sees the cryptocurrency as a great way to protect his company's money from inflation, which he thinks will skyrocket. In an interview with Julian Hosp, Michael Saylor explains the optimistic things about Bitcoin that not everyone is able to understand. Let's see what Saylor had to say regarding this.
I think that most people don't really understand that Bitcoin is the world's first digital monetary network, which means that ultimately it's 100 million people using it going to 1 billion in 5 years, and eventually everybody with a mobile phone will have some Bitcoin on their mobile phone. I think that that's a big dynamic. I think that is the big tech companies like Facebook and Apple and Amazon and Google and App, as they embrace it, I think that's going to drive adoption, and I think they'll have to embrace it. I think the big banks will actually start to embrace Bitcoin as collateral. I think that most people haven't really thought, most people that buy Bitcoin, they think I'm buying it so I can sell it when it goes up. I think what they don't realize is that ultimately no one's ever going to sell Bitcoin. As the market matures and as the banks mature, you'll buy it and hold it forever. You'll give it to your daughter or your son and your son's son and your son's son's daughter. Why would you ever sell it ever? I mean, most people sell it to buy a Lamborghini, right? I mean, that's the trope. I want to sell it to buy a house, or I'm going to hold it. Well, why would you? If it went up by a factor of 10 and you could borrow against it, why wouldn't you?
Interaction between Michael Saylor and Elon Musk. What solidified Michael Saylor's position as a crypto guru is when he convinced Tesla CEO Elon Musk to buy Bitcoin. In December 2020, Elon Musk made a tweet regarding Bitcoin, and Saylor replied to Musk that he should do Tesla shareholders a $100 billion favor and convert Tesla's balance sheet from dollars to Bitcoin. Musk responded, "Are such large transactions even possible?" To which Saylor replied, "Yes, I have purchased over $1.3 billion in BTC in past months, and would be happy to share my playbook with you offline from one rocket scientist to another." On February 8th, Musk's Tesla disclosed that it had bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, using cash on its balance sheet, and said it would begin accepting digital coins as payments for its products. When asked about this interaction with Elon Musk, this is what Michael Saylor had to say regarding this.
I talked to a lot of officers and directors of publicly traded companies, and a lot of people want to know my thoughts on Bitcoin and macroeconomics. And as you can imagine, normal acceptable etiquette is public company officers can't speak about conversations with other public company officers. So if it's on Twitter, it's on the record. You can see what has been said. But I mean, all my conversations with any kind of public company officer would be off the record, and I can't share them.
What will be the reaction of governments to Bitcoin? Going on in the interview, Michael Saylor also shares his thoughts about what will be the potential reaction of governments against the growth of cryptocurrencies in general and Bitcoin in specific. Will governments embrace Bitcoin, or will they oppose it?
I think the forward-thinking progressive governments are going to embrace it and they're going to benefit from it. And I think backward-looking governments are going to fear it and they're going to suffer from the lack of it. Bitcoin is it's pure monetary energy on the first digital monetary network. It's like electricity. So, if I said to you, every company in the US wants to plug into electricity, you could probably find someone that was afraid of electricity saying this is going to burn all our buildings down and this is bad for our cities, it'll cause fires. And you might even find a country that would ban electricity. Look, China banned Google, they banned Twitter, they banned Facebook. Okay, great. Yeah, but you think they're better off for not having Google? You lose Google Maps? I don't think they're better off. So there will be governments, that will be forward thinking, and others will be backward thinking. I think the politicians in the Western world will realize, and they do realize, that Bitcoin is the fundamental underpinnings of the 21st century finance system. A block of Bitcoin is like a block of light that has dematerialized monetary energy in it. We found a way to dematerialize money and move it at the speed of light and make it a million, if not a billion times more intelligent. So what does that remind you of?
Bitcoin's future. Michael Saylor also answers the question about what he thinks will be the future of Bitcoin 1 year from now and 10 years from now in 2030. Saylor thinks Bitcoin will dominate, and by that time, he wouldn't be surprised to see one Bitcoin worth $1 million.
Well, look, I think it's harder to predict what happens in the next 12 months because you have near-term volatility. I wouldn't try to predict it in 12 months. I think in 10 years, we're going to see billions of people with Bitcoin on their mobile devices. You're gonna see Bitcoin have definitely flipped gold and gone beyond it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin at $1 million a coin in 10 years. I mean, that would be double gold. It's gonna at least be double the value of gold. I expect over time, it will rapidly approach the value of gold, and then it will approach aggressively the $100 trillion, which is the value of store of value debt, store of value monetary indexes, cash balances held in treasuries, savings accounts, and precious metals. So I think that's a fairly straightforward future, because I think it's the answer to every company's problems, every investor's challenges. And I don't think there's anybody on earth that doesn't want to own their own monetary energy, right? I mean, who doesn't want money? Like money is monetary energy, it's life. So ultimately, if you have a choice, would you like to have your life force under your control so that you're not going to starve to death and you can protect your family and live for the rest of your life in comfort? Or would you like to have your money controlled by a bank, controlled by a politician, controlled by a government, maybe interfered with by another government, and maybe it will have value and maybe it won't, and maybe you can access it and maybe you can't? I don't think there's any human being that really wants to give up all their monetary energy, everything they have, to a person behind a person behind a person that may or may not give it back to them. So I think that the future is clear. The future is a world of billions of people with Bitcoin under their control, either controlled in their head or in their monetary devices, one way or the other, and all of that monetary energy moving at the speed of light over intelligent monetary networks, cross borders, cross counterparties, so that the world just functions more efficiently.
And from this, we can conclude that Michael Saylor is really hopeful about the future of Bitcoin, and he thinks that Bitcoin will be the ultimate solution to all the fiat problems and will provide financial freedom to everyone. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. What do you think about Michael Saylor's views regarding Bitcoin? Tell us in comments. Thanks for watching.